Okay, it's that time for people to demonstrate. So who would like to do the top three? Please unmute yourself.
I can do the top three.
Uh-huh.
All right, just 1 second here. Okay, so Zarola, shank bone or roasted beet recalls a time when lamb was sacrificed to ensure a healthy flock. Oh, I guess I can't do the egg. It's it's cooling
That's
down.
okay. I can demonstrate that.
Okay.
Egg.
Bedza, egg, the cycle of life. And maror, bitter herbs or horseradish, the bitterness of slavery.
Would somebody else who's got all the items like to demonstrate the next three?
Coppice, green vegetable for hope or spring, which in this case is parsley. Alroset, which represents the mortar, the bricks of slavery. And I just dropped it on my computer. And Harazet, lettuce. As lettuce isn't harvested, its stem hardens and becomes very bitter, i.e. it starts off sweet and its end is bitter.
Thank you. And we also have an orange, which represents LGBT people and feminism. Could someone who hasn't read yet please read from this?
I can read it. We come from many places. Our collective experience encompasses different cultures, faiths, traditions, and beliefs. We're in so many ways fundamentally different from one another. But just as we're different, so are we alike. We're all capable of loving, caring, being compassionate and empathetic. We're all capable of hating, fearing, being blinded by prejudice and xenophobia. We all share feelings of joy, feelings of sadness, feelings of wholeness, feelings of pain. Our lives are defined by the contrast between sweet moments and moments of sorrow. In spite of all that makes us different, let us be capable of sharing and receiving from one another. Let us learn to give and let us not be ashamed to accept. For it is in our interconnectedness that we can bring to one another the wisdom of our minds and the passion in our souls. It is our hope that on this Passover night, by reading this Haggadah, we will affirm our interconnectedness and contribute to our sense of hope and freedom.
Light is sown for the righteous and radiance for the earth. Okay, it's time to pour a glass of wine. I have grape juice. Saliendo de Arvit, cuando se oscurece, ingerimos los vasos de vino y diremos Kiddush. Coming out from the evening time or the morning, wherever you are, when it gets dark or when it's getting light, we will fill the cups of wine and say Kiddush. We raise our glasses. Let us dedicate the blessing of wine to all the people who throughout history have fought for the ideals of freedom. Attention, friends. Sabri Chavarim Bechaverot. Blessed is the light in life, and blessed is the fruit of the vine. Baruch haor b'chaim, u'baruch peri hagefen. Amen. Do not drink. Could somebody please read the English?
I can do both if you want.
Go ahead.
Nevarek et Akalak Betachenu, Shahehiyanu, Behigiyanu, Bekiyamanu, Lesman Azad. Let us bless the strength within us that has sustained, enlivened us, and brought us to us this time.
Amen. Drink. We will wash our hands, but we do not say a blessing because we're not going to eat matzah yet. Nos lavaremos las manos, no diremos berajá, porque ainda no vamos a comer matzah. So go ahead and wash your hands, either symbolically or with water or with whatever it is that you want to do.
Did we already light candles?
We're not lighting candles because it's morning for a lot of people.
It's morning for me, yes.
Yeah. Okay, Karpas. Could somebody that hasn't spoken yet please read?
I can read. In ancient times, people would dip their food into vinegar in order to enhance its taste. Later, the rabbis reinterpreted this utilitarian act to symbolize the tears that the children of Israel shed while in slavery. When we dip our karpas into vinegar, we think about how life, represented by the fresh green growth, is invariably touched with sadness and bitterness.
Thank you. Tomamos la hojica de apio y la entiñemos en el vinagre, y antes de comerla decimos, we take a piece of parsley, so that's the chance to take your parsley, and dip it into the vinegar. And before eating it, we say, blessed is the light in life, and blessed is the fruit of the earth. Baruch haor b'chaim, u'baruch peri ha'adamah. Yachatz. Tomamos las 3 matzot shemurot, la de en medio partimos media por media, la media metemos entre las dos, y la otra media metemos debajo de los manteles para aficomen. Could somebody please read the English?
I
We
can read
take.
it.
Oh, okay.
No, please go ahead, Kat.
Okay. We take 3 pieces of matzah, break the middle piece into 2 halves. The halved one we say, the halved one we place between the others, and the other half we put under tissues for the afikomen. We say, this is the bread of destitution that our ancestors ate in the land of Egypt. Anyone who is famished should come and eat. Anyone who is in need should join us. This is also the bread of freedom the liberated eat. This year we have been slaves, but we are also free people.
Este es el pan de aflicción que comieron nuestros padres en tierra de Egipto. Todo el que tiene hambre venga y coma, todo la que tiene de menester venga y pascue. Este año aquí, siervos a paro, al año él viene en tierra libre y ellos puros. So at this point, we would normally take the Seder plate, adorned with all of the ritual items, and begin to walk around the table, waving the Seder plate over each person's head. As the plate is being waved, the entire gathering at the Seder chants in unison, B'hilu yatzanu mi Mitzrayim, alach ma'anya b'nei chorim. In a hurry we left Egypt. With this bread, we are free people. The Seder plate symbolizes the calamities of the plagues, as well as the oppression of slavery being passed over you too. If you would like to, you may hold your Seder plate over your head, your own head, or if you are with someone, they could do it for you. And we can have a go at singing it. Just be very careful to do it myself. Goes, B'hilu yatzanu mi Mitzrayim, alach ma'anya b'nei chorim. B'hilu yatzanu mi Mitzrayim, alach ma'anya b'nei chorim. And it looks like this.
יש את הבטן, הבטן.
Okay, so we are at the point of a song, which some of us may know, some of us may not know. Has anybody heard or has sung Purim 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 Lanu before? It's in Ladino. If you have, say so. Okay. So it goes Purim 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 Lanu. Can I get everybody to practice that? Would somebody like to unmute and let me hear that you are practicing it? One person maybe.
Purim,
Purim 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 Lanu.
Lanu.
Pesach Pesach ala mano.
Pesach, Pesach a la mano.
Las masas se están faziendo.
Las masas se están faziendo.
Los yapraquis se están cociendo.
Los yapraquis se están cociendo.
Okay, so from the top. Purim 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 Lanu.
Purim, Purim, Purim Lanu.
Pesach Pesach ala mano.
Pesach, Pesach a la mano.
Las masas se están faziendo.
Las masas se están faziendo.
Los yapraquis se están cociendo.
Los
Los
yapraquis
yapraquis
se están cociendo.
Aman, 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 aman.
Aman, 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 aman.
Que la vida nos da mazal.
Que la vida nos da más
Mazal.
Aman, 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 aman. Que la
Aman.
vida nos da mazal.
Aman, 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 aman. Que la vida nos da más
Purim, Purim, Purim lano.
Purim, Purim, Purim Lanu.
Pesach, Pesach a la mano.
Pesach, Pesach a la mano.
La nonna está diciendo a los nietos.
La nonna está
Diciendo a los nietos.
A limpiar el polvo, cantones y los techos.
Pueblo, cantones y los chicos.
Y los tecos.
Aman, 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 aman. Que la vida nos da mazal.
Aman,
Aman, aman, aman, aman, aman.
que
Que
la
la vida nos da más
Purim, Purim, Purim lanu. Pesach, Pesach a la mano.
Purim, Purim, Purim Lanu. Pesach, Pesach a la mano.
Il hachan disho a las vanillas.
Dicho a las familias.
No comer el pan por 8 días.
No comer el pan no por 8 días.
And then everybody together. Aman, 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 aman. Que la vida nos da mazal. Aman, 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 aman. Que la vida nos da mazal. Thank you, everybody. Okay, now we move to the Magid. So we have to fill another glass of wine or grape juice and say the Haggadah together. Hinchimos los vasos de vino y decimos la Haggadah todos en juntos. Can somebody, who is the youngest person in the room? How can we know? Is anybody below 20? Luigi, I believe that might be
Germe
you.
may be below 20. Germe, are you below 20?
I am
So many people who can do a backflip.
I think I can. I think I'm the youngest
You did a back
here.
twist.
Okay, I know Luigi is 19. Luigi is here.
19.
Is there anybody younger than 19? No? So is it Ali? Is that you speaking now, Ali? No? Is it Guilherme then?
I am here. Can you hear me?
You're here. Yeah,
Okay.
Guilherme, how old are you?
I'm 21.
Okay, and Luigi, you're 19, right?
Luigi put in the chat that he's sick today.
Oh, okay, sorry, I can't read the chat. So, okay, Guilherme, go ahead.
Okay. Why is this night different from all other nights? On all other nights, we eat either bread or matzah. Why on this night only matzah? On all other nights, we eat ordinary vegetables. Why on this night do we eat bitter herbs? On all other nights, we do not dip your food. Why on this night we do dip twice? On all other nights, we do not recline at a feast. On this night, we recline.
Thank you, Guilherme. Ovadia, would you like to read this?
Yes. إيش المعنى الليلة هذه من دون الليالي? Why is this night different from all other nights? الذي في جميع الليالي ليس إحنا نجتفه حتى مرة واحدة. On all nights we eat either bread or matzah. Why on this night only matzah? We say والليلة هذه حج مرات. الذي في جميع الليالي إحنا ناكل خميرة وفطير والليلة هذه كلوا فطير. This is the matzah. Why on this night only matzah? No. All, الذي في جميع الليالي إحنا ناكل بقية كسارة والليلة هذه مرار. الذي في جميع الليالي إحنا نأكل ونشرب سوا قاعدين سوا متأكنين والليلة هذه كلوا متأكنين. Why on this night do we on all other nights we eat ordinary vegetables? Why on this night do we eat bitter herbs? On all other nights we do not dip our food. Why on this night do we dip twice? On all other nights we do not recline at a feast. On this night we recline.
Thank you. Somebody who reads Portuguese natively?
I can.
Go ahead.
Porque essa noite é diferente de todas as outras noites. De todas as outras noites. Que em todas as outras noites comemos hametz, pão fermentado, e matzah, pão azimo. Mas nessa noite comemos somente matzah. Que em todas as outras noites comemos muitos vegetais. Mas nessa noite comemos somente ervas amargas. Que em todas as outras noites não molhamos os vegetais, nem mesmo uma só vez. Mas nessa noite mergulhamos 2 vezes. Que em todas as outras noites há aqueles que ao comer se assentam, e aqueles que reclinam, que se assentam e se reclinam. Mas nessa noite todos nós estamos reclinados.
¿Cuánto fue demutada la noche la esta más que todas las noches? Que en todas las noches non mos entimientes a filo vez una, y la noche la esta 2 veces. Que en todas las noches mos comientes levto y ceseña, y la noche la esta todo el ceseña. Que en todas las noches mos comientes restos de verduras, y la noche la esta lechuga. Que en todas las noches mos comientes y vivientes, tanto asentados y tanto arescotados, y la noche la esta todos mos arescotados. Marcos, do you read Farsi?
No, I have some difficulty to read in Farsi.
Okay, would you like to try reading this?
Wait. خیراین شب با شب های دگر فرق داره. در شب های دگر ما یا نهم یا فطیر میخوریم ولی هم شب فقط فطیر میخوریم. در شب های دگر همه جور سبزی میخوریم ولی هم شب فقط سبزی تلخ میخوریم. در شب‌های دیگر ما سبزی را در سرکه عطا یک بار حلیم نمیزنیم ولی هم شب دو بار میزنیم. در شب‌های دیگر ما غذای من را اجورنی خوستیم میخوریم ولی هم شب کش میشینیم و میخوریم.
Thank you. Is anybody here native Spanish speaker? If you are, you could go ahead and read this.
I'm not. Oh,
Go ahead, if you're a native Spanish speaker.
I'm not a native Spanish speaker, but I can read it.
That's fine.
Que hace diferente a esta noche de todas las demás noches. En todas las noches no precisamos sumergir ni siquiera una vez, y en esta noche lo hacemos 2 veces. En todas las noches comemos chametz o matzah. En esta noche solamente matzah. En todas las noches comemos cualquier clase de verdura. Esta noche maror. En todas las noches comemos sentados, erguidos o reclinados. Esta noche todos nos reclinamos.
And we can sing together if you know the tune, but we're going to have to all sing together again like we did just now. So it goes, Ma nishtana halayla hazeh. Let's practice. Ma nishtana halayla hazeh. Mikol halelot.
מכל הלילות
Shebechol halelot. Anu ochlin.
בכל הלילות אנחנו אוכלים, אנו אוכלים, סייסה.
Hametz umatzah.
חמץ ומסה,
Hametz umatzah.
חמץ ומצה,
Halayla hazeh, kulo matzah.
הלילה הזה, כולו מסה,
Kulo matzah.
כולו מסה.
Shebechol halelot anu ochlin.
שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים.
She'ar yerakot.
שער ירקות,
Halayla hazeh, kulo maror.
הלילה הזה, כולו מרור.
Halayla hazeh, kulo maror.
הלילה הזה, כולו מרור.
Shebechol halelot einanu matbilin.
שבכל הלילות אין אנו מטבילים,
Afilu פעם אחת.
אפילו פעם אחת.
הלילה הזה, שתי פעמים.
הלילה הזה, שתי פעמים.
הלילה הזה, שתי פעמים.
הלילה הזה, שתי פעמים.
שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים.
שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים
בין יושבין ובין מסובין,
בין יושבין ובין מסובין.
הלילה הזה כולנו מסובין.
הלילה הזה כולנו מסובין.
הלילה הזה כולנו מסובין.
הלילה הזה כולנו מסובין.
Shall we go from the top and maybe on mute? מה נשתנה הלילה הזה מכל הלילות, שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים חמץ ומצה, הלילה הזה כולו מצה, הלילה הזה כולו מצה, שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים שאר ירקות, הלילה הזה כולו מרור, הלילה הזה כולו מרור, שבכל הלילות אין אנו מטבילין אפילו פעם אחת, הלילה הזה שתי פעמים, הלילה הזה שתי פעמים, שבכל הלילות אנו אוכלים בין יושבין ובין מסובין, הלילה הזה כולנו מסובין. הלילה הזה כולנו מסובין. Thank you, everyone. And now we're going to hear it sung in Arabic.
شو تغير هالليلة من كل الليالي إنه بكل الليالي بناكل أكل مخمر ومصة هاي الليلة كلها مصة هاي الليلة كلها مصة إنه بكل الليالي بناكل كل الخضروات هاي الليلة المور هاي الليلة المور إنه بكل الليالي ما منغط ولا حتى مرة واحدة هاي الليلة منغط مرتين هاي الليلة منغط مرتين إنه بكل الليالي بناكل يا قاعدين يا راكي هاش اسمس إنه بكل الليالي بناكل يا قاعدين يا راكين هاي الليلة كلنا راكين هاي الليلة كلنا راكين. That was good. Works very well. And it's fun. Yeah. It's fun.
Can somebody please read up until you feel that you want to change over to someone else?
It is written that long ago, during a time of famine, the ancient Israelites traveled to Egypt. The Israelites at the time were all in a single family, Jacob and his children. One of Jacob's sons was Joseph. He was so wise that the Pharaoh made Joseph a leader over all the people of Egypt. But as time passed, another Pharaoh became the ruler of Egypt. He did not remember about Joseph and his wise leadership. This new Pharaoh turned the Israelites into slaves and burdened them with heavy work and sorrow. After the Israelites were in Egypt over 400 years, a man rose among them who demanded that Pharaoh let his people go.
Many times he risked his life to insist on the freedom of his people until he finally succeeded. At our Passover Seder, we celebrate the story of Moses and the people he led out of slavery 3,000 years ago. We celebrate the struggle of all people to be free. Let us remember that the thirst for freedom exists in all people.
Many centuries after the legendary time of Moses, African people were taken to America as slaves. They longed for freedom and were inspired by the story of Moses and the ancient Israelites. Women continue to be enslaved as involuntary housewives all over the world, beaten if they dare to speak up, hidden from the view of either men, and treated as the property of their husbands or fathers. LGBT people are forced to hide their true identities, fearing for their lives on a daily basis. Even liberated places in the world expect LGBT people from other countries to hide their identities, refusing asylum to many who come from places where they are not safe.
Okay.
This evening, as we celebrate our freedoms, let us take notice of the ongoing struggles toward freedom for many.
You're supposed to be up here.
Oh, up there?
Yeah, I think that's a continuation.
Okay. The freedom we celebrate tonight is not only freedom from slavery, it's also the freedom to live in peace, with dignity, and with hope for a bright future. This constant vision has inspired the Jewish people since the ancient times. For centuries, Jews who lived in Europe were often persecuted. They were driven from place to place, and their lives were often filled with terror and despair. But now we live in a time where people fight hard to live without fear. This is the promise of today, the promise to all people. Many have suffered from poverty and disease, yet the courage, perseverance, and skills of those who fight for liberation has helped to advance the freedoms that we celebrate here tonight. This evening, as we celebrate our freedoms, let us take notice of the ongoing struggles toward freedom for many all over the world. And let us never be complicit when our own people oppress others.
Thank you, everyone. So, as we've already got our cups of wine ready, we can say this blessing to freedom. Vivimos el segundo vaso de vino como un lejaim a la libertad y decimos lecherut. We drink the second cup of wine as a toast to freedom as we say lecherut, to freedom. And then you refill your glass. Makot, plagues. A full cup of wine symbolizes complete happiness. The triumph of Passover was overshadowed by the sacrifice of many human lives when 10 plagues were inflicted upon the people of Egypt. In the story, the plague that struck the Egyptians resulted from the decisions of tyrants, but the greatest suffering occurred among those who had no choice but to follow. In our own time, just as in ancient Egypt, ordinary people suffer and die as a result of the actions of the tyrants who rule over them. While we may rejoice in the defeat of tyrants in our own time, we must also express our sorrow at the suffering of the many innocent people who have little or no choice but to follow, and the suffering of those innocent lives lost because of the actions of tyrants, whoever they may be. We do not, in this Seder, celebrate the killing of firstborn children. when the pain of others diminishes our joys, let us diminish the ceremonial drink of our festival as we together recite the names of these modern plagues. Please pour a small drop of your wine into a bowl which is filled with water. We pour the wine to symbolize how the Egyptians might have witnessed the turning of the Nile red with blood. Then we say together, please, the names, and we pour a little bit into the water. Hunger, war, milchama, tyranny, aritzut, greed, betza, bigotry, kanaut, injustice, avel, poverty, oni, ignorance, korut, pollution, zichum, indifference, adishut. If anybody would like to add some, please say them now, and we will continue pouring. Does anyone have any to add? No? Great. So we also have an orange. The orange is a symbol of the ongoing efforts we all need to do to make sexual minorities feel truly inclusive in our lives. For many gay and lesbian people in the global north, rights have somewhat been won, but this is not true everywhere. And other sexual and gender minorities still do not enjoy freedoms anywhere in the world, including wherever we are. Whilst we celebrate diversity and freedom, we recognize this struggle. We put an orange on our Seder plate as a symbol of sex, sexuality, and gender liberation. We eat a piece of orange and spit out the seeds into a bowl as a symbol of our disgust at human rights abuses against sex, sexuality, and gender diverse people. And if you are near a sink or somewhere where you can throw away your bowl, I don't know if you can see my bowl. My bowl of water turned red. And Sephardim will take that usually out into the back of the garden, as far away from the house as possible, being very careful not to let any of that liquid touch their hands, because it's full of all these plagues, which are really, we don't want to be touched by those plagues. And symbolically, we throw it away and we say, may those who hate us be destroyed. But I, in my Haggadah, wrote, may those who hate us cause no pain for anyone anywhere. So I will just pour that down the sink. And can somebody who maybe hasn't spoken as much, please read this?
If we have our freedom, it is enough for us. If we have our happiness, it is enough for us. If we have our hope, it is enough for us. If we have our health, it is enough for us. If we have our love, it is enough for us. If we have our knowledge, it is enough for us. If we lived by all these values, is it enough?
It goes, Im yesh lanu cherutenu, im yesh lanu cherutenu, im yesh lanu cherutenu, dayenu. Dayenu, 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 dayenu. Would somebody like to take over the next line?
Im yesh lanu simchatenu, im yesh lanu simchatenu, im yesh lanu simchatenu, dayenu, 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 dayenu.
Somebody else like to take the next line?
I'll take the next
Im
one.
yesh lanu tikvatenu, im yesh lanu tikvatenu, im yesh lanu tikvatenu, dayenu. Dayenu, 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 dayenu.
Im yesh lanu beriutenu, im yesh lanu beriutenu, im yesh lanu beriutenu, dayenu, 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 dayenu.
Im yishlanu ahavtenu, in yishlanu ahavtenu, in yishlanu avatenu, dayenu, 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 dayenu. Hey!
Im yeshanu yeratenu, im yeshanu yeratenu, im yeshanu yeratenu, dae, da 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 da.
Dayenu, dayenu. Shall we all sing together? Die, dayenu, die, dayenu, die, dayenu, 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 die, dayenu, die, dayenu, die, dayenu, dayenu, dayenu. Then we move to motzi matzah, and we take a piece of matzah in our hands, and we say, they baked unleavened bread from the dough they had taken with them from Egypt. It was not leavened because they had been driven out and could not delay. Cosieron a la matzah que quitaron de Egipto, tortas de ceseña que no levta, que fueron desterrados de Egipto y no pudieron pedrarse. Can somebody read the English?
On this festival of unleavened bread, we bless those who bring forth bread from the earth.
בחג המצות הזה נברך את המוציאים לחם מן הארץ. En la fiesta de matzot esta decimos ברכה, a los que atraen pan de la tierra. Eat. And at this point, we can take our lettuce and you can put some haroset in it. And if you also have your horseradish or other bits of herb, you can put that there as well. And then there's this kind of sandwich, where a Hillel sandwich, where you fold it. Obviously, you make the lettuce into a kind of sandwich. And if you want, you can put some matzah around it. And we read, this bitter herb reminds us of the bitterness of slavery and the gift of our freedoms that we take for granted. This also reminds us that our ancestors ate bitter herbs at the time of the spring festival. The sharpness of the taste reawakened their senses and made them feel as one with the festival of nature. Haroset looks like the bricks which are made by slaves. For us, it is a symbol of the bondage which the enslaved refused to accept. It is thus a sign of the joy of freedom. Liberty is not only the pain of struggle and risk, it is also the sweetness of work on our own terms, of good friends and satisfying leisure. Just as the bitter herbs are dipped in vinegar, so we dip our maror in the charoset to sweeten the taste of freedom. In this season of spring, let us remember the goodness of life. We eat the maror and charoset. So now we move on to the cup of Elijah. We refill our cups of wine. We already did that. Well, we do need to refill it actually because we poured some out for the plate. Could somebody read the English?
This is the cup of hope, the Seder tradition. Oh, so first we refill our cups of wine. Yes. Okay, so this is the cup of hope. The Seder tradition involves pouring a cup for the Hebrew prophet Elijah. For millennia, we open the door to him, inviting him to join our Seders, hoping that he would bring with him a Messiah to save the world. Yet the tasks of saving the world, once ascribed to prophets, messiahs, and gods, must be taken by us mere mortals, by common people with shared goals, working together for progressive change. We can bring about the improvement of the world, tikkun ha'olam, for justice and for peace. We can and we must. Let us make peace in the world. Let there be peace for all. Let us raise our cup as we dedicate ourselves to tikkun ha'olam, the improvement of the world. Hi.
Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishri, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimhera mi'ayinu, Yavo Eleinu, Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishvi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi.
And at this point, we will have our pause for snacks and chat. So if you do have any snacks, go ahead and get them in front of you. And I'm going to pause the recording so we can all